You're listening to the Punisher Waterfowl's The Union 0430 podcast, brought to you by Real Geese Decoys, the most technologically advanced silhouette decoy on the market. First Light, the best hunting gear on the planet. Go farther, stay longer. And Ducklander Calls, tradition, education, and quality, built to hunt. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Union 0430, episode 144, and this is a big milestone for us, but you wouldn't know that with only the three of us, and then we've got Craig on, but Merc is MIA, we don't know where he is. Dave's probably saving a kitten up in a tree again, or something like that. Isn't that what he does, Bill?
It's that, or he saves foundations.
Or he saves foundations, okay.
Yeah.
So,
or he's cooking dinner, or he's having nap time.
I thought he was playing with his hose.
Playing with his hose.
A lot of that too.
Ooh, that's a lot of that. So anyways, a very big milestone for us tonight that we'll get into as after we get the introductions done. We got Philly coming to us from Port Perry, Ryan coming to us from Nova Scotia, and of course the original sponsor of the Union 0430, Mr. Craig Mintz from Real Geese, coming to us from the great state of Ohio. Craig, thanks for coming on, boys. Good to see you again. As Ryan said, him and Phil are on a bit of a heater right now because back-to-back shows that they've been on.
Two in a row.
Two in a row.
Wait.
So,
Ryan hit two in a row?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan hasn't hit. Ryan, I don't think Ryan's hit 3 in a row since he left the military.
Probably not.
No, I don't think so,
not.
buddy. After you left
No.
the military and you changed your work schedule and everything, and everything changed, I don't think you've done 3 in a row since then.
We'll roll that dice. I'll aim for that next week. We'll keep her going.
Good luck.
Yeah.
What's the over under on this?
Oh, I'm saying 16 to 1 at least. Yeah.
16 to 1? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I might put into that. Is that on FanDuel?
I'm going 50-50. It'll happen.
It's bet 365, but that's okay. Yeah.
I gotta bring this up, Craig, and you gotta excuse me. I know you watch a little bit of hockey and stuff like that.
I do.
But holy smokes, man, the amount of gambling commercials in between the games now is insane.
I'll be honest, I bet last night on the Oilers and Vegas game.
Did you? What was the payout though?
It was a little bit different. So I bet on correct score. I actually bet 4-2 Oilers Vegas, and then obviously it was 4-1.
Yep.
So, and then I bet Connor McDavid, and I can't remember who the other guy was, to have a 1.5 assists. But for us, in Ohio, it's in a part of where I'm at is I get these bonus bets that it was basically betting house money last night. But in our area where I live in Ohio, this is new. We couldn't do this. But the amount of money that is spent just betting on these kinds of things, because it's so convenient. I could be sitting there watching the game like I was last night, and in the middle of the game, you could bet, lines, you can bet anything you want.
Yeah, because
it's so easy.
They talk about it here, and I'm sorry everybody, but it is playoff season. We got to do our mandatory. We got to do our mandatory hockey talk. But they got this thing that's called game day parlays, right? And I think that's stuff that you can bet when the game. I don't understand it all, and it's a good thing that I don't, because I would be betting if I understood everything. But these game day parlays, I think you can bet while the game is going on, because they'll come up with who's going to get the first goal, who's going to score in the second period first, stuff like that, right? So you can bet on pretty much anything. Either way, I just think it's crazy the amount of commercials that's on. So much so that PK Subban's dad has come on the media saying that they need to take him out. funny. But
Yeah, I enjoy it because it's like it adds a little bit because I'm a Detroit guy. Like I would have never watched the Oilers play Vegas last night. Like,
Right.
but I had so much X dollars free to bet, and I was like, why would I not? Since there's some money at it, I didn't win anything, but there's been times that I'm more of a football guy. So when I know when it comes down to football, the bets that I can make and that more of a contest. I'm learning hockey. I've only really become a huge fan probably over the last 5 to 7 years. Only because my friends, I got Cody White and Tony Doble are my friends that are really into hockey, have been season ticket holders forever and watched the Wings win many, deals. But for me, it's something I'm learning and I've enjoyed it. I have season tickets to our local, it would be the third step down from Detroit is in Toledo.
So what would that be?
So
ECHL maybe?
Yeah, ECHL. It's a walleye.
Yeah.
They're in the, I believe, semifinals
hockey,
right now.
Man. That's good hockey.
It's good hockey, and it's you could go up there for $12 American, watch a game, have $3 beers and enjoy the food. We can take my entire family and be $50 and be good to watch a game, and we sell out up there. So it's an average of 8,000 or 9,000 people.
Oh, I got to tell you this. I read this the other day. So obviously you guys all know about the Bud Light can, right? And putting that dude on there. So obviously Bud Light has had a bunch of backlash on it. Their stock has dropped 29% since they made that announcement and put that dude on the can. So
is now the time to buy a stock.
Yeah. So, but get this, Fenway Park and the Rogers Center in Toronto, and I'm sure all the other ballparks in the States are probably experiencing the same thing, but this was what the article talked about, was Fenway and Rogers Center here in Toronto, that the lineup for beer in both parks is insane, except for the lineup where you get Bud Light. It is empty. No one is buying it at the ballparks. So to our American friends that are listening, for you guys, you're like, yeah, damn right, and it makes sense. But for us in Canada, in Toronto, which is a pretty liberal city, for them to be boycotting Bud Light, that tells you something. So tells you just how much Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch fucked up on that.
I believe the term is shit the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to before, like, my family was into the Busch Light. We drank it and Bud Light and stuff and all that. But you can go to grocery stores now around my area and it's packed full of Bud Light, anything that they make. If you want a Coors Light, forget it.
Really, eh?
You ain't getting it. Or you want something that's oddball, you're not getting it. It's just sold out. And you look at the market cap of Bud Light, and it's just whatever it may be, whatever happened, I didn't take part in it. Like, we kind of went down that road, but it is true that me and my wife went to Guardians game the other day, and it was the same way there. You didn't see a Anheuser-Busch product anywhere.
Really?
No.
I just think in today's and I know I know we're starting off on this foot right off the bat, but I just find in today's society where this wokeism, and Ryan and Phil, we were talking about it before Craig come on, but we're talking about all this stuff, and it seems that our way of thinking, so the non-woke folks, we're the minority. Or that's the way I feel, anyways. That I'm a minority
100%.
in this.
I don't feel that way.
No,
I think because the media shoves it down. Like, I mean, look at the beer sales. You would think in a city like Toronto, they would be lineups for Bud Light, but that's not the case.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I thought I was a minority in this anti.
Oh yeah, No.
But yet I'm reading these articles on they're going to triple the president of Anheuser-Busch is going to triple their marketing budget over the next 2 years to try and make up the recoup. Yeah. But what they fucked up with was when they made that Americana commercial.
Oh yeah.
That one. That pissed people off even more, because then they're like, "Oh, come on, man, we're not stupid." Like,
there's no integrity. It's all fake, right?
Like you can't.
Well, that's the problem. Is they tried to come back at it and didn't apologize. Like they didn't say, "Listen, we made a mistake." You know, they tried to make a mistake that it was, you know, not Anheuser-Busch that made the commercial. It was some firm and all this other stuff. You can't tell me somebody at Anheuser-Busch at the top of the key didn't approve this.
Absolutely.
You know, so for me, when I look at it, is you know, I have a lot of friends, and to be honest, I have friends on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, and me too.
And the opposite side of the aisle was like, I was more offended that it would happen. Like, and that's the thing, is I look at Bud Light, I look at Busch Light, I look at those kinds of things. You got to know your mark, you know your client. You know, it doesn't work that way. And you know, on our end, I think it was something, and I've read somewhere, and a couple other people that are really into it. And I was really into marketing in college. Like, that's one of my strong suits is marketing. And this is something that they will show in a marketing class for the next 20 years. Don't do this. Just don't do this. Like, and it teaches people how to learn, how to do this. And it's a learning curve for them. You know, does it cost them multiple billions of dollars? Yes. Will they come back? Yes. I mean, Anheuser-Busch is
man, that's like if Realty started printing billboards for PETA. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, know your audience.
And Anheuser-Busch is like, there's a bottling plant less than an hour and a half from me. You know, and it's something that I know these people are just going to continue to, you know, make bottles, do these things, and go that route. And it's going to eventually come around. But I think overall, we've learned that maybe that wokeism isn't the best way to go business-wise.
Well,
you know?
I think, sorry, Phil, I'll get this point in and then go. I think what this has taught us is that there are a very, very large portion of people in North America that really don't give a fuck if you're gay, trans, straight,
100%.
but stop forcing it down my throat. And I think that's what we've learned from all of this. Nobody cares. Like, go do and be you.
You do
whatever makes you happy, do it. But just stop forcing it down my throat.
And that's the definition of equality. It's not giving somebody an advantage or a disadvantage because of their gender, color, or whatever. Everybody's on the same.
And I think that's
just be a human.
In the weird, and obviously, you guys being in Canada, you'll get this deception of the United States being in a certain area. But like, everything that all the people that I talk to, all the friends that I talk to, all the people that I'm around, we're in the same boat. Like, if you want to be this way, you want to be this way, you want to be this, that's cool. Like, we're accepting of a lot of things, but it's a point of when it's forced upon us, that's when it's a problem. And even the people that I talk to that are, you know, maybe of a different gender or maybe or whatever, and they're like, we don't approve of this. Like, this is not us. Like, we just want to live our lives. And it's becoming a little bit of an issue. And the United States is becoming a little bit more of a problematic place than what it used to be. And I think that overall, and honestly, it sounds weird, but I think the Bud Light thing was almost like I don't want to say a plateau, but it was something that we could all like compare to.
Oh yeah.
And understand common ground of like, listen, this isn't us. Like, what are we doing? Like, and I think we can all switch back to it. And even around my area, I know a lot of people that are like, hey, this isn't us. Like, why are we doing this? Like, let's get back to square one. And we've all buried a hatchet. And, you know, overall, I think that it's all going to go away eventually. Once we learn that we don't have these views that are forced upon us. And again, living in a different country, talking to you guys is different. because of the differences in what is happening. But less than 12 hours, I'm going to be in Florida in a completely different state, having the exact same feeling.
Yeah. Philly, buddy, I cut you off, and I know you have some enlightenment.
Well, it's like this is right up there with like the whole Under Armour fiasco.
Oh, when they went all anti-hunter, they're a bunch of
Well,
years
when
ago.
they pulled their sponsorship from that female in Alberta,
Right.
her husband spearing the bear.
Right. Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
I missed this.
Oh yeah, go for it, Billy.
It would have been like 10 years ago or so, Craig. There was a female hunter in Alberta. She had her own show, and it was her show. And frequently her husband would be like a special guest. So in Alberta, it is perfectly legal to hunt bear by spear.
Okay.
A fucking spear, a pointy stick. You're going to try to kill something with a fucking pointy stick. Good on you, sweetheart.
Yeah, we've evolved.
So he does the show. So he's up in a tree stand, bear comes in, throws the pony stick through the bear runs off, boom, dead. Now, in my honest opinion, I think the spear is probably more lethal than an actual arrow or crossbow because you're getting a lot bigger cutting diameter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways, huge outcry from all the aunties and the heart bleeders and tree huggers and all them folk. So Under Armour is like, well, so much for this. They pull their sponsorship from her because of this. In turn, all the hunting community went, fuck you, Under Armour. Yep. And like Tony Vandemore walked away from Under Armour.
Yeah, but he's back with them now.
Nope. He's with Cabela's.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Tony's still wearing.
I don't think so. Anyways.
Either way, yeah.
So
either way, still.
My wife's mother and her stepdad, they live out on Vancouver Island, out in BC. So it's like a year or two after this went down, we were out there visiting them, and my wife's stepdad's taking me through like these hunting and fishing stores. Dude, the shelves are stocked with Under Armour.
Really?
50 off, 60 off. They couldn't give it away.
Really?
Yeah, everyone in the hunting community was like, yeah, we're out. Like, there's still a handful of people that still represent them, but like, they've taken a big shit kicking in their like camo department.
I see a lot of their hunt stuff on social media though. Like I see it promoted. Now I'm a huge fan of Under Armour, just because of what they do for the veteran community and the ill and injured veterans. So I'm a huge fan of them. Fellas, this was awesome, but we got to talk about
changes.
This is a waterfowling show.
Well,
whatever.
Well, I wanted to bring us back around. Now we can go back to this because
Craig's got a nice view.
You do.
That's my view every morning. And that's you.
Hi.
Hey, you. Yeah, like so. What I was talking about when we first started the show, when we first came on, was that to the day, it's been 3 years since we've launched. 3 years since we've launched the Union 0430 podcast. And it sort of kind of came to me earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week, and I was like, man, we got to be coming up close on a yearly anniversary. And I honestly didn't think that it was 3 years. Like I messaged the boys and I'm like, boys, has it been 3 years? Like I think we're 3 years, but it doesn't seem like it. So then I went back, Craig, and it was August 24th, 2020, when you came on the show the first time.
August 24th, 2020. That was a while ago.
That was a while ago, but like I've heard Ryan and Phil say this, and I've heard Mark say it, and Dave, and I'm sure I've even said it in the past, that when we first brought this idea up and the five of us were talking about it, like we weren't even going to do shows during hunting season. we were like, we'll do it for a little bit and just see what it is. And
couple here, couple there,
couple there. I think we were surprised that we made it to 50 episodes, let alone we're at, this is episode 144. So I guess that, to me, it's a huge feather in my hat, or in our hat, I should say, because I think me included, I didn't think that we were going to make it past a year.
Well, and I look at it is I've always said in many cases, Rome wasn't built in a day. It just was not. And for me, when I came back, multiple years ago, when I listened to the first couple of them, I'm like, listen, this is exactly what I love. I love that raw. I love the non-edited. I don't want scripted. I don't want any of that. And that's what we've gotten. And then 3 years later, we're in the exact same boat. Yeah. Nothing's changed. Nothing's there. I mean, we've had, when I go back and I look at part of, the Union 430 is we've had some really cool guests.
Oh, buddy.
A part of this program. We've had some really good topic discussions on safety. We've had really good topic discussions on, how do we get the youth involved? How do we get, this involved? And that's the thing that I want. And when I look at the Real Geese, having a part of the Union 430 is having that ability to, having the rawness, but yet having the ability to look back and go, okay, hey, youth is our future. How do we make it safe? How do we make it productive? How do we make it to where you're not spending millions of dollars to go hunting, and you got 5 guys that love the sport, that have the ability to take nothing and make it into something that is absolutely perfect when it goes to hunting. So over the course of 3 years, I think that has the viewership gone up? Maybe. I don't look at those ends. Obviously, that's on your end. But I think, when I have conversations with people at the Toronto show, or I have, I was standing there and watched many people skip the Real Geese booth because they seen the Punisher logo. And that's amazing, because when you have that ability to where you have that brand awareness, it's something that I think that everybody a part of that program should be proud of.
Oh, we most certainly are. Oh, we lost Craig. You know what he done? He dropped his ear pod and he pushed a button, and that kicked him out. But to keep going with that though, Ryan and Phil, like, it really was like, it was really at the beginning in its truest form. It was just an excuse for all of us to get together and chat. And then we said, well, maybe somebody wants to fucking listen to what we chat about.
Well, like we were in the height of COVID, and
right.
This was our guys' night. This was our beer and wings.
Yeah, fair, good point.
Minus, like, not actually, like, this is what we did. We got together.
Yeah,
we felt like, you could go with the other buddies and go for beer and wings and watch the game and whatever. Like, yeah. And at least, like, that's how I felt.
Yeah, no,
this was at the
very
start.
True.
It was having you couldn't go visit people, you couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
And this was, again, like how I felt, like, was, guys' night, beer and wings, watching the game.
Yeah.
And we all get to sit there and chat and talk about what we're passionate about, waterfowl and whatnot. And like, we've been beyond fortunate, with the sponsorships that have come. Like, and Craig's been an absolute godsend to us.
Right from the start. Like,
Craig was an absolute honor to actually, shake Craig's hand at the Sportsman Show, meet you face to face. And you've been a big driving force behind this. And again, like, we're at 144, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I think we've exceeded our expectations.
And I think that's the great thing, but I think our goal is now to get to 288. Is double the shows, and my goal is to get guys on and to get girls on that are huge in the industry. I think that now that we've got a base of it is we reach out to these people and get that core group We've had some big names on. And you guys have done a phenomenal job at being able to get these guys and gals on these shows. And I think that, my ultimate thing is in the end of this is people call me and say, hey, I heard you guys on this show, or I've heard you there, and you guys again, you don't sugarcoat things. You don't say that this is things the way they are, or way they all, here. But for Ohio, for the stateside, the Canadian side is a huge market, and you guys are in the middle of it, and you can give us that. When I want to come hunting in Canada, this is what I should expect. Or like myself, I don't have a lot of canoe hunting experience, but Dave does. And those are the kinds of things that I expect to kind of get from the shows, and I'm learning aspects of it, even on our end, that it's amazing.
Yeah, like and if we look back to the very beginning, Ryan, like you and Phil, and Dave and Mark, but you and Phil reaching out to people, and I remember you guys saying, "Hey, I'm going to reach out to this person and see if they want to come on the show," and I'd be like, "This fucking crap shoot, right? Like they're not going to come on. They're not going to come on the show with us." And then Ryan would message me and be like, "Yeah, I remember Phil's like, I'm going to ask Wade Shoemaker to come on," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, Wade Shoemaker's going to come on our show," and
fucking right he did.
Fucking right he did.
Damn right he did.
And then,
Ira as well.
Yeah, and and Ira, and then we had Claudio Ongaro, who's fucking waterfowl royalty in Canada, with with Ryan being out there and working with Claudio, and having Claudio on, and Daryl Gilbert and Emily. It's just, that is the thing that I've said the most to people that have talked to me about it. And it's really the coolest thing, that when you reach out to somebody and you ask them, we talked about it on the last episode with Mario that was on from Final Approach. Like, it was a quick question. Hey man, this is who we are. We do a show. Would you like to come on? And the feeling I get, and Phil and Ryan, you can talk about it too. But all these dudes that we looked up to for so many years, and Craig, you're included in this, they're just like us. They just want to get on and talk about shooting birds.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I kind of forgot about it. You just kind of mentioned it. Like, I remember in our group chat, the five of us like collectively had to like reach out to any kind of like connection we had to pull a guest on. It was really like a team effort. And now it's just like, it's just whatever. Like we seem to, it's much easier now. And if it's just the five of us, it's just the five of us. But yeah, it's just like the one thing I think the common denominator in all this is that whether, we're talking to somebody we have some young kid on who just wants to be on, and, because they're trying to establish themselves, or we have Craig, or we have Sean Stahl, or whoever, right? A bigger name.
Yeah.
We're all just waterfowlers. We're all just people who just want to hunt and be in the outdoors. And that's the common lineage with all of us. And that's the one thing taken away is, and the people we have on, they're just like-minded like us. Everybody leaves their egos at the door. We're just shooting the shit, talking about what we love to do. And that's the most important thing. I think that's why we've had the success we've had.
Would you say, Bill, I'll ask Bill and Ryan, both of you can answer this question. Would you say that one of the biggest reasons that when we reach out to people and they agree to come on to the show, would you say it's because all of these people, Craig, you're included in this, so you can chime in as well, but when you own a company, when you own a brand, like all these guests that we've had on the show, these people are constantly bombarded with asks. Can I get this? Hey, I can do this for you. Give me free shit. Can you know what I mean? There's always somebody asking. But with us, I used to start off every email with, listen, I'm not looking for anything free. I just want you to come on the show. You don't need to give me anything. None of the boys are looking for anything. We just want you to come on the show and have a chat. Do you think that having that attitude of not expecting anything other than let's just have a chat, do you think that parlayed into the guests that we've had and the returning guests that we've had? Billy,
Well, I
do you
think 100%. Like the only thing we've ever asked from them is their time.
yeah.
In honesty, in my opinion,
and we've asked them to share it on their socials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in honesty, I think time is a bigger commodity than any sort of physical item because you can't get time back.
Yeah, 100% fair.
Once time's gone, it's gone. You're not getting it back. And I think asking for that alone is more valuable than any sort of tangible item. And being blessed with the people that we've had on, and like it's just we want to promote people and just create content for the show, especially obviously us in Canada. We're such a smaller market compared to the States. A lot of people up here don't know about some of these products and things that are available to us as hunters that might change your life, the way you hunt and so forth, that are like US based, which is like 99% of the stuff. But yeah, so like I think just solely asking for someone's time alone and getting that from them is what means the most to us.
Yeah.
Because like I said, once time's gone, you can't get it back.
Yeah. Ryan?
That was deep.
That was deep. That was like deep thoughts with Jack Handy. Deep.
That was deep right there.
Hold on while I raise my pinky and sip bourbon.
Man, I don't know. I don't even know how to follow that. Like,
I'm sorry, Ryan, that I let Phil go before you.
Yeah, that's not happening again. I'll tell you that right now. So
I've been bumped.
Yeah, man. Who followed Vince Carter in the dunk competition? Who was that?
Who was that?
Who was that? Jerry. No, it was Jerry Stackhouse. It was Jerry Stackhouse. I was like, man, I feel like Jerry Stackhouse right now. Yeah,
sorry, Ryan.
That's all good. No, man, like it's just I don't know. I think like I've heard a lot of people come on and say this, and actually I've heard Craig say this a lot. It's just we're just real. Like I'm not trying to pump our tires, but like Damon, you say it at the end of every episode. We're just a bunch of dudes who are good friends and have common ground in hunting. Like that's all this is. And I think people relate to that, and it's kind of refreshing in a waterfowling, especially in a hunting, especially where there's so many fake people, so many people trying to get likes, people trying to pick up pro staff positions to get discounted gear, all this stuff, right? I got every piece of kit I need. I don't need a sponsorship to give me free gear. Sponsorships help for cross promotion. And the thing I like about our sponsors is it's stuff we actually use and we actually are stay behind, right? And that's awesome. But we're just, I don't know, we're just as real as it gets as far as I'm concerned. We're not we're just dudes being dudes, and that's what I love about it. And I think that's what's going to stand the test of time.
We're just 5 idiots that took a leap of faith.
Yeah.
Well, and seriously, but that is 100% right, Bill. Like we really were. We just said, hey, listen, COVID's on the go, and Phil, thanks for reminding, because I had totally forgotten that COVID was on the go when we started this. But COVID was on the go. Everybody in Canada was in fucking lockdown. We couldn't see nobody. And this was our chance to hang out, drink beer, smoke cigars, and tell lies. And we just thought, well, maybe people would want to listen to us. And if we can, con a couple big guests into coming on, even bonus. But then, that comes right back around to Craig. And I remember I called Perry Blanky, and I said, hey, man, I know you do a lot of stuff for Real Geese. And this is, the touch on what Ryan said, where we were constantly, it was hard at first to try and get guests to come on. And I asked Perry, I said, hey, man, like, do you have a contact with Real Geese? And he was like, yeah. He said, of course I do. I said, good, Craig Mintz, you should check him out. And so, and I asked Craig, and Craig, just like so many other guests, said, of course, I'd love to come on. And then I think, Craig, maybe 6 episodes in, was when you contacted us and said, listen, Real Geese wants to be part of this because we like it. And it wasn't because it was all flashy lights or nothing. It was just,
it's the raw part of it. That's like I said, it's raw, and it's what I want.
Well, are we the only one? Oh, sorry, Craig. Are we the only waterfowl podcast in Canada?
100% for me. I mean, I can tell you, you're the only podcast Real Geese backs.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's the only one that I'll probably back forever, because when I first got a part of it, and Perry contacted me and said, "Hey, what do you think?" And like, well, let me listen to a couple episodes, because like you had mentioned earlier, I probably get 2 a week.
Yeah.
Of, hey, we need, this, such and such, we're looking to raise money for this. Could we get a donation of this? And I know at this point we're in April, into May. I haven't figured May's schedule, but I think we're at like $5,000 to $7,000 of free stuff that we've given away.
Mm-hmm.
We're about $1,000 a month that we give away. Mm-hmm. And it's all the good causes. Don't get me wrong. Ducks Unlimited and all those kinds. And I'm all for that. It's not that I'm not. But we get hit every day that I walk into my office. There's 2 or 3 papers that are sitting on my desk of, such and such would like to have something. And I got to look through it, and that's cool. But I do remember one of the things that Perry brought to me is they don't want anything. They just want just to talk.
Yeah.
And when I went back to a couple of the first interviews, I actually had more fun listening, because again, it was raw, it was unedited, it wasn't exactly what I wanted to listen to. It was, it was something that when I listened to it, I learned something, but it wasn't scripted. It wasn't, because I've been on other podcasts where, I've known the questions prior to the show. And, it's something against those podcasts, because they're great podcasts, but they're not this show. And again, I enjoy, I have a group of friends that we get together and we enjoy each other's company, and it may not be about waterfowling, it may be about racing, but when we get together, it's just that little bit of raw content is so valuable to the other people that may be wanting to get into it, or maybe wanting to understand, how do I get this, or how do I do this, or how do I do that? And again, each one of you, a part of this program, brings something different to the table. And I think that's the part of that what I really like.
Well, and one of the other things, and it was by design this way, on my part, was that Phil, Merck, Ryan, and Dave will keep me honest. So, and what that means is that if I start to go down that slippery slope where money means more than anything, or you know what I mean, where all I'm caring about is the likes and stuff, those guys will tell me, and they have no problem. They have no problem telling me that what you're doing is idiotic, or what you're trying to do is idiotic, or it's not what we signed up for when we said that we were going to do it. So, which plays into that whole mantra that I've had my entire life, that my dad has put into me, was surround yourself with good people, because that's the only way to succeed in life. Is because if you think you're going to do it by yourself, you're not. That nobody can do it by it.
And the one thing that I love about this whole scenario is 3 years ago, when you started this show, did you think you would have your own brand and your own line of decoys, the Real Geese decoys?
Well,
and
no,
and for me, I look at it going, we sell a lot of those decoys, and I don't promote it. It's not something that I throw around and say, hey, everybody's got to have this set. It's something that you guys do, you guys promote, and they come to us to buy. And, we sell quite a bit of those. And I think it shows a lot about the clientele that are a part of the Punisher 430. It's really cool to I don't know how to describe it. It's not it's something that we're a part of a group that I think can all relate to one another. And when we need something that we can trust one another that this works, it all works.
Yeah.
And for me, when I see a Punisher pack go out the door, I'm like, man, that's really cool.
Well, you think it's really cool. You have no idea what I think.
For any of us, for any of those that are actually watching and not listening, if you look in Damien's background,
yeah,
and my background,
yep, right there.
But it is a cool thing, and you know, it's a cool thing, and I would love to be able to take the credit for it, but the credit came from Rusty Heron. Rusty was the one that suggested that I reach out to you about this, right? And I was like, you know, man, like Craig already does a lot, and this is what's going on in the back of my head, right? I'm like, Craig already does a lot for us, and he's been so good to us, and I don't want to be that guy that's constantly asking for stuff, but you know what, I did it anyways, and of course Craig jumped on board, but I wanted to come back to something that Ryan had said when he had talked about, you know, this whole world and this whole industry. And it's a shame because Bobby Hayes was supposed to be on tonight, but Bobby's in Yellowstone. So Bobby's in Yellowstone, and he had called me. He was in town yesterday, and he got a signal, and he called me and he said, "Listen, I'm going to be in an Airbnb in Yellowstone. They say I'll have internet connection, but it's probably going to be wonky." So I know he was trying to get on, but this is something that we've had a discussion about, Bobby and I. We've had it, and Ryan, you sort of alluded where there's people that are still, they still think that this waterfowling world, industry, whatever word you want to give it, is this huge, massive, multi-billion-dollar industry within North America. And they still think that if you fucking knock down, you know, 100 geese in a month or in a couple weeks, that you're a big deal, and that you should be sponsored. So where I'm going with this is that, you know, if I talk to a marketing person right now and I say, I need to grow my subscribers on YouTube, right? Our YouTube numbers so our podcast numbers, full disclosure, our podcast numbers are amazing. The amount of people that listen to the podcast, download it, and while they're driving or scouting or whatever, those numbers are amazing. The YouTube numbers, I would love to see them grow. So when I talk to a marketing person, and Craig, you're in that marketing world, and I know I've talked to Bobby Hayes about this, and these marketing people will say, well, it's easy. You just got to put out content, because there's millions and millions and millions of people on social media. Yes, but there's not millions and millions and millions and millions of duck hunters. So in North America, I'm going to be very liberal here and say in North America, let's say there's 1.5 million duck hunters in North America. And that's being
gracious.
That's being very gracious. So if you think a brand, and it doesn't have to be Punisher Waterfowl, but if you think a brand, so let's look at Bobby Hayes or R&T, or, you know, these big massive companies that are, or these big massive brands that are in the waterfowling world. They don't have the likes that, say, Kim Kardashian has. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't expect I don't know who's popular in music right now. Bieber. You can't expect Bieber numbers because you're out shooting geese. It just doesn't compute. So
because it's 0.5% of what the United States is, because we're so populated. But like you said, you're talking 1% of the United States population shoots ducks, shoots geese, or whatever it may be. You know, and even if you went into just hunting in general, you may be at 10%, maybe.
Maybe.
You know, so a lot of the things is I don't look at a lot of times. I think the biggest eye opener for me is honestly the Toronto Sportsman Show, 100%. Because in the United States we do get every now and then, but when I had people walking through our booth to go to the Punisher logo, that's when I knew, holy crap, this is a big deal. And for me is we were trying to grow at United States, and I'm all aboard about that. But when you have something like my biggest market is Canada, without question. And I'm in Canada, and they're going to, oh man, I got to talk to these guys, and it all works out, and we all talk to one another. We have these same conversations, but we look back at it, and we look back at the very start of it, and we look till now. But we look at the amount of people we've had on the show, you guys have had on the show, the conversations you guys have had. For me, I look at it as is maybe the overall numbers on YouTube haven't grown, but I can tell you that the overall sales of Punisher on my end have grown.
Oh yeah,
just because of the show. And I have people calling me and say, what's different about the Punisher pack versus the Shadow pack? And I have to explain to them. And then the next thing is, well, how do I listen to the show? And then I give them the YouTube deal. Yep. And they're like, 2 or 3 weeks later, they're like, hey, that's awesome. Because I can tell you, when you push out Monday morning, sometimes Tuesday, the Punisher that week, most of our employees will podcast that and we'll listen to it on our, maybe our, our AirPods. And it's something for us that we love because they love listening to it because they live it every day. And they live birds. They live, oh man, it may be that such and such is coming out in the news, such and such, or this is in this. Yeah. And we, our people love to learn that kind of thing. And I think that's the one thing that I've really enjoyed about the program is even though some of my, lack of better terms, competitors have been on the show, I enjoy it because that's my part of it. How do I make real geese better? And then they're in the same boat as how do they make X and X better? And in all, it relates back to the original 5 guys of, we're not looking for sponsorships. We're looking for better products. How do we get it? And that's how you get it. And you guys are the backbone of that industry. And I don't think you guys understand how big of an impact you guys have made in the world of waterfowling when it comes down to the raw data, the raw information of like, hey, we need to really do this, or we need to really do this, or legally you need to do this.
Ryan and Phil, this is I don't think I've ever asked you guys this, so I'm sort of kind of putting you on the spot here.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So because I'll tell you from my personal experience, some not my good friends, because my good friends they totally get it and they know what's up, but some acquaintances, do you get the feeling that people think that this show and the brand is way bigger than what it is? Because I get people that come up to me and go, woo-hoo, Real Geese, Ducklander, First Light, you guys are just kicking ass and taking name, and they think that like this, that we're this big, huge thing all of a sudden. And I tell them, I'm like, we're not. We are doing what we intended to do, but by no means are we this big, huge thing. Do you? And if you don't, it's okay.
I'll let Ryan go first.
Oh, thank God. I can honestly say I don't pay attention to any of that. It's not why I'm here. Like,
right? No, I know that, but I guess my question is, do people think it?
I think it's been mentioned to me by like I don't. It's not like I'm walking down the street and be like, oh,
No,
you're
no.
Ryan from like no, like that's not
No,
that's
no,
never
me
never
either.
happening, right?
Me
Yeah, I
either.
know, but like in the waterfowl circles, yeah, sure. I mean, people are. I remember some of my hunting buddies when they've made big deals about it, but I just see it as us shooting the shit every once a week, like talking about hunting. When I sit down and I actually look back at some of the people we've had on, I do think some from where we started to where we've come from. That I mean, that growth is kind of impressive, and I'm proud of the what you and Dave have done, right? And it's been awesome for me, Mark, and Phil to just be kind of along for the ride. And so that aspect's good, but I never really try to quantify like where we're at. Like, I don't know. And I get maybe that's I think that's the kind of like the backbone of this whole podcast is like, we really don't give a crap about that kind of stuff. Like we're doing this. And I remember you saying this, Damien, like we're doing this, whether we have 5 people that listen or 500, we don't care.
No.
Right. We don't care. And I'm so glad Phil hit the nail on the head tonight about like we started this in COVID just so we could like get together and just feel normal for a bit, right? And socialize with each other. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I can definitely say like it sure as hell hasn't hit me like we're just 5 idiots with nothing better to do for an hour a week, right? Like
pretty much.
We just want to help other people out, like getting people like Craig and other guys on to like say Wade Shoemaker, help guys better their photography, like all that kind of jazz. And like I had a discussion with someone, I don't know, it was like a year or two ago about something anyways, and they referred to me as like waterfowl royalty, and I'm like, pardon? And it was like because of the show. I'm like, well, back to train up, sweetheart. Like far cry from it. We were 5 idiots with nothing better to do for an hour a week, and we're like, 100%. And to say to Craig, like with how the show is about being real and being raw, we're the same guys on this show as we are in the garage, in the boat, in the blind, and in these duck kennels.
And
we're
Craig,
the exact same guys.
Craig knows that firsthand.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I love about it is I had never met you guys. And we did this first show 2022, what's 2020. Mm-hmm. And, some of you guys I've met my first time, 3 months ago. And it was like we never skipped a beat. And, for that part of it is when I took Real Geese and wanted to venture out and to help these brands is I wanted the rawness. I wanted that, aspect of, I don't like scripted. I don't like this, I know the questions beforehand. I don't want that. I like that, 5 dudes sitting in a bar stool, playing cards, drink, smoke cigars, drinking whiskey, whatever it may be. I love that. And I think that's what I got. And I never look back at it as second guessing it. And my thing is, with our Real Geese connection is how do I help? We have connections of that. And I look back in it and I may ask all you 3, what is your dream show? Who could you have on that you may not be able to get yet that you would love to have on?
Oh man,
Red.
You know what?
Who's yours, Phil? Who's yours?
Red Fisher.
Red Fisher.
Red Fisher.
Yeah, man. Mine's.
Fuck 90% of the people that watch this show has no fucking clue who he is.
No,
none.
Who do you have, Ryan? Who do you have, Ryan?
Oh man, for me, like in the industry, like waterfowling, Phil Hudnall is my idol. Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, he's the man.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. You know what? And this isn't me trying to play the middle of the field. I'm genuinely happy. Like I've met Sean, like I messaged Sean Stahl. Like I text him. Jeff Coates will call me, and while he's driving to Molly's, he'll just call me because he's driving and he wants someone to talk to. Like,
well, Coates is a different brand. He's
Oh, man.
different.
Coachy's the best.
He's a wicked. He's a
He
wicked.
is a great.
Fucking awesome.
He is a great.
But so for me,
like I look back and not to interrupt anybody, but I look at him as an OG.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's an OG.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like I look at these guys, and pardon, obviously I'm younger, and Real Geese has been around 30 plus years. So we have the Sean Mans, we have the Daryl Wises of that group. And when I talk to Sean, he might be he comes up with ideas, and I'm like, yeah, no worries, I'll hook you up, Sean. And we help him out in certain cases, and I may have a guy call me, and he's like, I want to get on the program and such and such, but he goes, hey, Sean Mann sent me, and as soon as he says Sean Mann sent me, you're in. There's no question. And Jeff Coates is the same way. If somebody calls me and says, hey, Jeff Coates sent me your way, you're in. There's no questions. Like, don't even bother, like, even having to that. So there's the OGs of the entire group. And then I look at the other guys of it, and the guys that are part of Real Geese that are a lot behind the scenes are like Ryan Campbell. A lot of guys don't realize how much content comes from that guy. Adam Smith, another guy that they take care of our Instagram or take care of our Real Geese. Like they build a lot of part of that I don't have part of it. In the industry, when we get into it, Real Geese is very that big when it comes to my part of my day. When it becomes, December, January, in those big times, yes, it's a huge part of it. But like right now, agricultural is my life. But I have people like the other day, I had a message that, hey, I need this. Yeah, no problem. And San Hill Cranes, I need this. Yeah, awesome. So luckily Brandy and Tina have built into of where I've trusted them with that aspect of it to where they can call, build that relationship with them. And I look back at it, and my ultimate, and you all have kind of said their ultimate goal of a major show. And to me, I would love to have a major show where we have a predominant OG show, where we have Coates and these guys that are a part of this. And I would love to have an OG versus a new guy like Aaron. I mean, geez, this dude's good. I mean, there's no doubt about it that these Heron calls and any of these calls guys are really good.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's what brings back that competition part of it is you got, an OG versus a new guy, but the old guy, likes to look at some of the new stuff that these guys are coming, but the younger guy looks at the OG and go, I built my stuff because of you. And that respect is there. But I don't know if it's always reciprocated, as in, do the actual people realize that the respect is there? It's not this versus battle that we come together as like, hey, it's this company versus this company. There's a lot of insider knowledge of working together to make a perfect product.
Yeah, and you know what? We're at that 60-minute mark, but I want to put this little. I want to leave us with this, and that is, we've talked about it many times on this show, and we've mentioned it tonight as well, where everybody that we've met, and Phil, Ryan, you can say it here, but we have yet to meet a douchebag on this show.
No.
Right? We've met nothing but great people, men and women, on this show. So the point I'm going to leave is this, that if you think that there's animosity, or if there's pulling from one brand, or listen, we are all part of this very small, like you said, Craig, this very small slice of the pie, a very small slice of the pie. And listen, I get it. People conflict. personas conflict, and I understand it. I've dealt with it for a long time in my life, but this show is 100% as advertised. Like I always say, we are not experts. We'll never pretend to be experts. We are a group of dudes that love one another's company and love talking bird hunting. And that is, I cannot stress how true that is and how we view ourselves on this show. We're going to do a quick round the table. Craig, buddy, I am sorry I had to cut you off, but that is good that I cut you off, because you know what? I am going to put together that OG show, because I know Coates is going to be in. I know Coates is in, because I know he's really busy right now, but I know he'll make time. And we're going to sit down and we're going to put together a banger of a show and just let the A-type personalities just explode, and we'll just sit back and laugh and hear all kinds of stories. So round the table, Brian, I'll go with you first.
The whole time we're thinking, like, I love the question Craig asked about like who could you have on. So the whole time I'm thinking like, man, like I feel like this is like the deck of cards, and like like the old Saddam Hussein days, and I'm like, who do we have left on the deck of cards? And I'm like, I think we got Field, I think we got John Stevens, and then we got Fred Zink, and we're done. We're good.
I was thinking Fred Zink, and I didn't say it, but I was thinking Fred Zink.
I know a guy.
I will tell you, that John Stevens did show interest in coming on the show a while back, but that dude is a busy dude.
Yeah, he is. But those three are like my Mount Rushmore. Like that's and
that's the kind of thing that with rookies is those guys, they're a few phone calls away, and I think that for me, I would love, and ultimately, we'll put this in our back pocket is ultimately for rookies. The one thing I want to do is have Coates, man, and these kinds of guys. I want to have them on a hunt.
Oh, you brought this up at the Toronto Sportsman Show, and this is insane.
And I don't care what we're hunting over. I don't really care. I want Coates. I want man. I want these guys that are a part of the OG situation, and it may bring everything. Everybody may bring something different, and that's cool. And if we're hunting over rookies or whether we're hunting over whatever, I want to have these guys a part of this, so where we have a hunt that's a 3-day deal that we broadcast or we video, and have these guys' thoughts is have these guys sit in the blinds and listen to stories. These guys have stories that none of us were a part of, and I would love to listen to these things. And my aspect of it is racing, and my area has a Hall of Fame area that goes back into the 40s and 30s that I have really taken part of as I've gotten older, to realize that this is very, very valuable to learn, to pass on to the kids that have come, after me, that I need to learn to pass on. And these guys, it's nothing against Coates, it's nothing against these mans that, they're getting older, but their knowledge is invaluable. And to be able to put them in a field together, and maybe they were at once enemies or they were once competitors, but to put them in a field together and just let them shoot whatever they want to shoot, is got to be a blast.
Well, it got to be a blast, and I tell you what, I bet you it'd be some pretty funny shit that you'd hear too. Billy.
Man. Yep.
Honestly, like I said, it's been a wild ride for the past 3 years. And like we can't thank everyone enough, for all the support that they've given us. And like we've said before, and we said again, like we are as real as it gets. Yeah. And like I said just a few moments ago, like we're the same guys on this show as we are in the truck, in the boat, in the garage, at duck camp, whatever. We are the same people. And the token film moment for the night, I sure as fuck ain't gonna change for no one. So we're as real as it gets, unscripted as Craig says, and we're as real can get. And you reach out to any one of us, you got questions about camera stuff, dogs, boats, guns, whatever, we'll respond. Like you're no burden to us. You ask for help, we will do whatever the hell we can to get you that help. And if we can't, we'll figure out where to get it. So we both have the answer. Like we're here just to do what we can. So we put out, a half decent show. Thank God to everyone that watched, likes, subscribes, smashes buttons, whatever the fuck kids do these days.
Ring the bell.
But so like we can't thank everyone enough, and please, keep watching, keep listening, just keep it going.
Craig?
Yeah, and when I go off of what everybody said tonight is we're raw, you guys. And again, we go back 3 years ago. I wanted to be a part of something that was raw. Bunch of guys that got together, talked, enjoyed each other's company, talked about shooting birds, and it can go off a tangent randomly, but I love that. That's what I love about the show is it's not scripted. We don't have a script in front of us that says, "Hey, we got to have this done by 8:50." It is. We can go random about hockey. We can go random about this. We can go random about this. And that's what I love about it. And it's something that, when I came to Toronto, I learned a lot about you guys. I learned a lot about how raw, exactly how you are on the show is exactly how you are in person. And that's what I love. And Real Geese will continue to be a part of this program no matter what it takes. And I look forward to many years of, again, we double this show and we do this exact same thing, maybe 2 years, 3 years from now, whatever it may be. And we have the same conversation and we say, hey, that OG show we did a year ago was badass.
Yeah.
And that's something that I want to look forward to. And whatever Real Geese will need to do to make that happen, I want to make happen.
Awesome, buddy. I'm going to leave us on 3 notes. First off, for anybody that hasn't seen this, I got Toby Maguire's autograph.
That's OG right there.
Yeah, at the Toronto Sportsman Show. And I needed to bring that up because I got it.
There's only one of those.
Yeah. No, there's 2 because Dave got one too. Me and Dave got one.
Yeah, there's not very many of them because I know there's the Eclipse and I think there's a shadow version of each one.
Yeah.
And there's not very many of them.
That's the first point. The second point is before we hit the record button, and it was just Phil and I on, Phil done some quick math, and in the past 3 years, there's only been 12 weeks that we haven't produced the show and put it out. And that goes to show the dedication of the 5 of us, the guests that we've had on, and just how much we love one another's company. And
we have no life.
And that is, in the truest form, exactly what this show is about. In the past 3 years, we've missed 12 shows. And that, to me, is one of the most staggering things that
what is that, 156 weeks and you missed 12?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It really is. And the last point I'm going to leave the show with, and it's something that I say at every show: surround yourself with good people, because that is what's going to make all of the difference in whatever it is you're trying to tackle in life. Surround yourself with good people, be kind to one another, big love, and we'll see you next week.